All right, everyone, welcome back into another props video. Going to be touching on the top prop bets in college football on both PrizePicks and Underdog. Let's go and get into it. Now, I do want to start out this video with showing you guys some of these middling opportunities that we have, at least as it sits right now, because we have one line on PrizePicks that is clearly an outlier here, clearly kind of wrong. It's off by 13 yards. Okay, it's about a 50-50 split at 297.5. Underdog has that line there as well. I do expect this one to get bumped, but if you guys are someone that has hit that notification bell, I wanted to start out with this prop because obviously if we can all jump on that, that's a big edge for us. Another one where we are seeing a decent prop line difference as well. Dylan Raiola for his, well, you could do his over passing yards here as well. A little bit of a middling opportunity there between PrizePicks and Underdog there. So I want to call those two out because again, we can bet those on both sides. Hopefully the middle hits. But this first one, Ellie Holstein for overs passing yards on PrizePicks, to me is one of the better ones that we are getting today. And then there also is sort of an interesting one in terms of a fantasy score line here for RJ Harvey. Now, if you guys are someone that plays on PrizePicks consistently, RJ Harvey is a little bit of a sore subject there with, I believe it was a taco that he did not hit on, or maybe it's just a discount, a normal discount that was out there last week. Missed his over. I think it was rush yards by like 0.5. So a little bit tilting there. But we have an interesting line here, I would say, for him. So on PrizePicks, we're seeing that the line at 24 is clearly the outlier data point here. Underdog has the line set at 21. The projection data has it set at 21. And then also the average sportsbook line would have it around 22. So this does tell us that we have a little bit of a middling opportunity here as well. Now, I do want to pull up both those middle opportunities that I think we have. So we got Ellie here. We can see, or Eli, sorry, Eli here for his over passing yards. We can see only one game in which he hasn't gone that over. Like to see that there from him. And then we go ahead and get to Harvey. The issue that everyone is going to have is that this is a pretty easy matchup for him this week. And I shouldn't say pretty easy matchup. It's not a hard matchup at all. It's kind of a push matchup. And given the fact that he's gotten this over the past 4 games, it is a tougher click to bet the under here. But we can kind of clearly see that the PrizePicks line is the clear outlier here. Now, guys, we are doing a slight calculation adjustment here, between PrizePicks and Underdog scoring. His receptions prop is at 1.5 for tomorrow. So it's not like that massive of a difference there. And I would argue that they both probably should be at what the average sportsbook line is at. So that's another middling opportunity that we have. So I want to start with that. Obviously, for Harvey, you'd bet his over fantasy score on Underdog. And then Eli here, you'd be betting his under passing yards on Underdog and then doing the exact opposite there on PrizePicks. So now we'll stick with PrizePicks for a while here until we jump into Underdog. But I want to start with those big middling opportunities there. But looking at it, guys, we are getting a lot of prop bets here that are being valued as pushes. So again, kind of the way to read this is when these lines get bumped, 1.5 from 1.5 here to 2. Basically, at 1.5, he has a 62% chance to get the over, right? At 2, I read it like this. It's like a 50-50, like basically as all odds are for him to get to 2, but it'd be a 4% over likelihood. So you're still liking the over there, but it's not like I just don't like betting these because like I don't love betting on lines that are being valued as pushes. Like these are all even numbers. And that's kind of the issue with PrizePicks and Underdog these days is that they literally are just doing that instantly or turning them into goblins or demons. And we know that those are not going to be good long-term profitable solutions. Now we are getting some good edges still. We can see here Jalen Milroe for over his fantasy score. Nothing huge here. And this is a bet that we can do on both sites as well. Jalen Milroe over 28.5 for his fantasy score. The average sportsbook line would have it closer to 27.3. Okay, but they would be, really liking the over there. Matchup wise, this isn't going to be a matchup that anyone's too concerned about going up against Vanderbilt. And if we look at it, this has been a line that he's been consistently able to get it right around the over here. 3 out of the past 4 games has gone the over. And so this is a bet on a tighter slate. That'd be fine running out. And then from there, the board does honestly get very tight from that point on. Luke Grimm for under his fantasy score, you could do at 12.5. And we're starting to get a little bit too low. Only about a 53% likely to hit. So let's go ahead and jump on into some Underdog bets. And for Underdog, it's going to be a little bit more of the same. We are getting a couple of decent under any time touchdowns. That's kind of it. We have an okay line here for under receiving yards. Again, this one will probably get bumped by the time a lot of you guys get in here. It's kind of unfortunate as always. Decent under fantasy score. But again, I just think we're looking at probably a decent amount of those middles that we have. Ollie Gordon for over 2.5 receptions. I mean, that's an okay one. Pull it up here using PrizePicks, but we can see he has gotten this over the last 2 games. Not great, not bad. And then from there, it pretty much is like too tight. So let's go ahead and get into my favorite bets for both sites for college football this Saturday. So we'll start here with the PrizePicks bet of the day. Gonna keep it simple, guys. Again, attacking the little middle opportunity that we have. I do hate the idea of running Harvey for under his fantasy score, but we did see that that is the clear outlier in terms of the data that he was a little bit too high valued on PrizePicks. Do like the over better on underdog though. And then we do have Eli Holstein for over his passing yards. Again, that was a decent middling opportunity. And then Jalen Milroe for over 28.5 for his fantasy score. That's the best fantasy score line that we have right now. But I do want to make it clear, guys, I am doing this video a little bit earlier than I typically would. Typically speaking, the fantasy score lines are going to be our biggest edges. Like last week, it didn't work out, but like there was like 5 or 6 different prop bets. 4 specifically where the lines were off by 2. We saw like PrizePicks bump those down, and then 2 out of the 3 ended up, or 2 out of the 4 ended up really just crushing their over. But that is where we typically are gaining our biggest edges against PrizePicks or underdog because it's a slightly different calculation. And once more and more books get their lines in there for the slate, that really does influence the fantasy score lines directly. So that's my long way of saying that, you know, the closer we get to lineup lock or game lock for those prop bets, the more lines we're going to get in there. And so the likelier that we are to get an edge on some of those fantasy score lines. And then, yes, for underdog, kind of sticking with more of the same, going with Jalen Milroe for over his fantasy score, and then doing the middle here. And then we have that slight prop line difference here for CJ for under his receiving yards. The average sportsbook line has it about 18.5. And then Dominique Lovett for under 0.5. Anytime touchdown is what it is. A little 5 slip flex bet there for you guys. So that's going to be all.